Hi, my name is Kadija Taylor. I am the owner and principal designer of Home and Sanctuary, and these are a few of my favorite things. I love ice cream. Laughing, clearly. Like, who doesn't love laughing? Actually, I don't like to spend time with people who don't like to laugh. Cooking. I actually love to cook. Drinking tea. I love tea. Travel. It just gets you out of your comfort zone. You get to see that the world is so much bigger than you. You meet new people, you see new things. It just opens up your mind to how other people think, live, exist, see the world, experience God, experience their families. The diversity of music and art and food, it's just some of the dopest shit ever. I love people who travel because people who travel are so open-minded. It's a few of the things that I love and they're my favorite things and I wanted to share them. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, an even better week. Sending you lots of love and light always, and I'll see you next time.
So that, my friends, is the one, the only Kadija Taylor of Home and Sanctuary. I thought I'd try something new today because if you can't already tell, the smile in my voice, whenever I just hear Kadija's voice, particularly on Instagram, which if you want to see her in action, please go find her at Home and Sanctuary LLC, and you'll be able to see the video behind that beautiful sound you just heard. So I wanted to play that so that you get just a peek at who we are about to enjoy during these next 30 minutes. So Kadija Taylor is the one I credit for saving my marriage in the last 2 years. And we are going to get into that, I promise you. But to read her bio real quick, Kadija Taylor is a native of Denver, Colorado. After graduating from the University of Colorado at Denver, she began a career in property management. And this is where she spent over 11 years in affordable housing, serving many disadvantaged and marginalized populations in the city. During this tenure, Kadija served on various project committees for rehabs, renovations, and new builds. She fell in love with design and knew it was time to make a change. In 2016, she bravely decided to spread her wings and venture into the world of real estate and home design, which ultimately led her to open Home and Sanctuary. Kadija, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I love seeing your face. Always tell me have such a good time. I'm smiling too. I feel like we met and we're kindred spirits. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. It's so awesome.
My pleasure. Before we started going, I told you, and I was so sincere when I saw that you were on my calendar this morning, like all day, I've been like, I get to talk to Kadija. I get to talk to Kadija. I've been just
Me too.
very excited.
Like, I gotta make sure I'm ready. I gotta make sure I'm ready. So I'm ready for Michelle.
I'm so grateful. And so to bring people in, since I did kind of do that slight teaser about how you saved my marriage, which I know I have told you quite a few times, I am so sincere, but for my friends who aren't aware, so 2020, as we all know, we went through the pandemic. And at the time I was working in corporate America, and the 3 kiddos were, in their rooms or in the basement or laid out in the family room. And then Steve had his office down in the basement, so he had his privacy there. And then I had my office set up in the dining room, but then we made this like makeshift tiny little corner in our living room. And I just reached a point. I remember one day I was sitting at the dinner table and I looked around and I'm like, every single person at this dinner table has their own room except for me. Like, there is a problem with this picture. So long story short, Kadija to the rescue. She comes over and oh my goodness, again, back to Instagram. If you want to come visit Kadija's page, if you want to come to mine, Michelle Fox Love, you'll see the transformation that she made to our living room where I sincerely, every day I walk in here, I'm like, this is me. Like I come in, she got the colors right. She got the textures right. I mean, anybody who comes in immediately feels warm and relaxed in this space. And it truly is all because of Kadija. I wouldn't have known where to begin here. So Kadija, for the 1 millionth time, and there will probably be 1 million more, but thank you for creating this
Oh,
space for
thank
me.
you. Thank you so much for, it's an honor to always be in someone's home. I don't take that lightly. Home is sanctuary and it's a sacred space. And so when people invite you to their home, it's an honor and it's humbling. So, and you just welcome me in and you just let me do my thing. So I so appreciate that. Yeah, it was so much fun.
Mm,
It was so much fun.
boy, did you.
And
Yes.
you already had some great pieces. So
And
yeah.
that's another thing. You always made me feel not so insecure. Because I remember thinking especially when I showed you my bedroom, I'm like, don't laugh, don't laugh. And you're like, girl, this is fine. I was very grateful for that. Well, before we get into the juicy gems of our conversation, I would love to invite you to play a game. Are you open?
I'm open. Let's do it.
Sweet. Okay, so I call this my rapid fire questions. So I did not share these with you earlier because I just want to see where we go with these.
Okay.
The first one, your options.
Okay.
Sweet, salty, or savory?
Oh, savory all day.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was easy. Okay. Question number 2. Last show that you binged and loved.
This is hard. Oh my goodness. What's the last show I binged? Actually, that's kind of a good thing. Huh? I'm not a huge TV watcher. You know which one I watch The Crown. So I love history. But yeah, I watched The Crown. I thought The Crown was good. So I think they're in season 4 or 5.
That's one of Steve and I's treats
Crown.
as well. Yeah, that's a good one.
You're like, oh, I didn't know.
That's good to know. We're not alone in watching that one. Woo. Okay, so last and final question. Would you be willing to share one of your favorite memories in childhood in the kitchen?
Oh, immediately I think of my grandmother. And let me clarify, like I didn't have a grandmother who was like baking cookies and like, like the grandma that's like, oh, I don't want to say warm because my grandmother was warm, but she was fierce. Like if she was a woman of this time, oh my goodness, I don't even know who she would be. Like somebody famous for sure, celebrity. But she was an artist and she was an amazing homemaker. And really, I credit those gifts that I have as far as design is concerned to her lineage and her memory. She loved to bake and she was a great baker. And so I remember that she would always, after she would mix the cake batter, she'd always let me have the spoon or have, the bottoms of the mixing tools. And so, yeah, it was awesome. I loved being in the kitchen with her. Yeah. Yeah,
And that's love. That's something, especially now that I have a daughter who now has a grandmother who's my mom. There's nothing like that bond. Because I can tell you, I went into
like, there's nobody better than your grandmother. Like really.
There you go. That's what my daughter would say.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what about me? What she's like, no, it's
grandma.
Like no argument. I'm like, oh,
nobody better. Yes. So her name was Sarah Jo Montgomery. I learned so much from her. Yeah, she was an amazing, amazing human. And I'm so humbled to have her DNA running through mine. So yes.
What a blessing. So for my friends who are listening, and you might be thinking, home and sanctuary, what does that have to do with culinary nutrition? Well, you're in my community, so you already know there's a connection. And I'm sure just by hearing Kadija's voice, you can tell she is very spiritual and very much about whole person wellness. And that's the category we are delving deep into today. Our topic, color psychology and your kitchen. Let's talk about that. So, Khadija, when I say color psychology, what does that mean to you?
So, color psychology is really the study of how colors in general affect our mood, our emotions, everything from what we like to eat, where we want to travel, what we like to wear, everything. Color is, I think we just underestimate how much color influences our day to day
Mhm.
experiences. And so, people who use color psychology, anyone in marketing, color psychology is their thing. And the millions and millions of dollars that are invested in color psychology and how they find a demographic based on those things or sell a product is all about color psychology. You know, when you're watching television and a commercial comes on and it's about food, let's talk about food today.
Yes,
You
please.
see the head of lettuce drop and it's green and it bursts out, and then you see the tomatoes slicing and they're just red and you're just like, oh my goodness. And you have your red onions and they're purple, but we call them red, and you're just like, what is going on? That is color psychology, and those
Mm.
are the things that make you want to get up and do something and react. So color psychology for me in design is something that I use to influence people's interiors and how they want to feel when they're in their home. And
Mhm.
your kitchen is what we usually call the heart of your home. So it is not an exception to color psychology. So that's why we're talking about color psychology today with you, Michelle.
Mm. I am loving this
Yeah.
because clearly I can provide recipes and I can share with my coaching clients the foods that they are supposed to eat. However, if they're not thrilled about being in the kitchen, or even worse, they feel like, oh, that's a drag or that's a chore, I imagine. And actually, let me not put words in your mouth. Let me ask, are things that we can do in our kitchen to make it feel more appealing to be there?
Absolutely, just like any other space in your home. Um, It's the same way you're like, I want a beautiful bathroom that I can just take a long bath in and turn on candles. Your kitchen is no exception. And there are colors and actual layout and lighting, that can affect how you interact with that space. And so, yeah, I'm a little biased. I like to cook. One, I like to eat. So let's start with that. I
Yeah.
was always taught if you like to eat, you should like to cook. So I
Mm.
cook, but I have been guilty of, and let me just credit you here, because in October we did the Healthy Sexy Challenge with my sorors, a Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and Michelle headed off this amazing, amazing experience. And I have been, let me tell you something, I've been in the kitchen ever since. I
Mm.
have
Oh,
been in the kitchen
Kadija.
ever since. And I have shocked myself how I've been committed to being in the kitchen because of what you shared with us and all of your guidance. So, for anyone who's on the fence with working with Michelle, stop, go ahead and do it. And the
Mm.
benefits that I have experienced personally have been amazing. Just better rest and just feeling more balanced. And there's something special about knowing what you put into your mouth because you made it, and I just gotten away from that, just letting work be an excuse for not being in the kitchen. So, not to detour, but that's part of what
No,
we're talking about.
please.
I
You
don't know.
said so much right there. I want to pop in real quick and then I want to ask you more about what we can do to enhance our kitchens. But yes, and my community who is listening, I promise I did not plant that, but this is
Did
perfect timing
not.
because we are gearing up for Healthy Sexy May. And so I'm super excited about this program because I listened to the reviews and listened to the feedback, and people wanted a little bit more time to integrate the information. So we're moving this program to a 6-week coaching program, extending it from 4 weeks. And then I'm going to do a little bit more of the meal planning and add more recipes. And so I'm so excited to share Healthy Sexy May with the community very soon. And then two, I wanted to just say, plus, Kadija. Nicely
Thank you.
done.
Thank
And
you.
also to say that you're doing the work, like kudos to you for showing up. Because yes, it's one thing hearing the information, learning the information, but you are applying the information. And wouldn't you agree that once you get started, like your body just starts craving the whole foods and
So
the less sugar and the
totally.
more nutrient dense ingredients? Have you been finding that for yourself?
Absolutely. I think the game changer for me, so I'm not a huge sweet person. So the
Okay.
sugar part, and not that sugars are not hidden everywhere. So let's be clear about that. But I
No.
mean the sugars of like I need a slice of cake and a big old cookie, and no, with the exception of ice cream.
We all have our things.
Right, we can have our
No
thing.
judgment here. No judgment.
Right? No jokes. No. But with the exception of that, the thing that really was a game changer for me was the gluten. And I
Mm.
really had no idea. I mean, I had kind of toyed with it, and I know, things are kind of trendy, and people are like, oh, I have a gluten allergy or intolerance and all the things. But really, I cut it out. And I'm a cold turkey person. Usually I'm in or I'm out. Like I don't do too much of like, and I mean, immediately. So anyone who's kind of like a person who, like me, I like to see results pretty quickly, especially in decisions that are like small pivots. I so I need to feel this for me to stick with it. Gluten was huge for me.
Mm.
Like swelling, sleep, yeah, bloating, like all those things just went like immediately when I cut
Mm.
that out. And the times where I've gone back uh to cheat and to act out, my body's like, really?
You thought you could get away
That's
with
what you
that?
want to
What?
do? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you're seeing rapid results. It's
Yeah,
like
seriously. And mostly in mood.
pudding.
That's another thing. Food is huge on your mood, especially and I'm
Mhm.
sure for men too, but as a woman, it's just like I didn't know. I'm in my early 40s and you're like, man, this food is affecting my mood. And gluten, I didn't know was having that much, influence on my
Oh
mood.
yeah, because it's attacking our gut, but it's also attacking our brain. So I'm sorry you've had the pain, but I'm also grateful that you're able to recognize it now. So kudos, sincerely, kudos. So now, if I am just landing on this podcast and I don't know anything about Michelle's work or Khadijah's work, but I'm like, they said something about enhancing my kitchen. Like, what are a few things we can do to make the kitchen just feel like a place where we really want to be to actually cook
Mhm.
healthy foods?
I think the most important thing first, especially if you're like, I don't have a budget to do this, clearing your space.
Yes.
So underrated. Decluttering is huge. And the kitchen is an area of your home that can pick up a lot of clutter really quickly. Countertops, just say, come on in.
Yes.
Put the keys here. Put all the things. Put your coat on all the bar stools. And just, if you declutter, immediately you'll feel like, maybe I want to be in here a little bit more because your
Hmm.
space is, I believe, is always a reflection of what's going on in your heart and your mind. So when your spaces are cluttered, you're feeling cluttered here and here, and you're not thinking, and you definitely don't want to be anywhere that feels cluttered. So the kitchen can be a catch-all space in a home, and especially if you have kids, family, and it's a lot of movement. So declutter, you would start with that. If you're like, I don't have any money, just clear things out. Uh,
Mm.
the next thing that you can change, you're like, oh, I have a little bit of money. Lighting, lighting, lighting. You have poor lighting in your kitchen. You kind of don't want to be in there because you can't really see the food. And since we're visual, I'm a visual person. We all are visual, but I love visual things. And so if you're
Mm.
a visual person, not really being able to see how things look and will not make you want to be in the kitchen. So check out your lighting. If it's dim, even the coloring, the temperatures of your lights, go to something cooler instead of something super warm. When I say that, that was kind of yellow versus the blues. You want to maybe do something in the middle, which is probably like a 4,000 Kelvin. I'm kind of going in, but
Yes. No, I'm taking notes. Please go in. This is helpful,
Um,
and I want to go check my lights after we
yeah,
get
check
done
your
talking.
lighting. Another thing you'll want to take a look at is colors. So we were talking about color psychology. Clearly, what's trending, I'm not a designer who follows trends, but neutral palettes are always nice for kitchens, big or small, especially when you have a smaller kitchen and you're like, oh, I'm just feeling like it's too cluttered in here. First, move out the things, but a fresh coat of paint can change a space entirely. What you choose, the color you choose is going to be important, but just fresh paint, a fresh coat of paint, make a space. So those
No,
are
that
some
sounds
small
very
things.
doable.
Yes. And the other things,
I'm
plates,
all ears.
cups, and
Ah,
pencils, and get you a new set. Stuff
mm,
that you eat on, stuff that you drink out of. I love coffee mugs. I'm not a coffee drinker anymore. I love tea, but I love a teacup. And so find the things that you're like, oh, I love to drink out of that cup, or I love to eat off of that plate. Find you something that you love to eat off of, or eat with a fancy fork or spoon or whatever. Do those small things when you're like, I can't do the demo and do the kitchen that I want. So those are small things that you can do in your kitchen space that'll make you want to be in there more and eat your food that you're cooking because Michelle gave you a recipe to do it.
I absolutely love that. And I'm feeling a little like, uh-oh, because husband Steve will be listening to this and he'll be like, see, Kadija says we can get new plates. Because I keep saying no, because the kiddos, there's chips and there's cracks. I'm like, I want to wait for the kids to get out of the house before we invest in new plates.
Don't do that.
But as I'm looking at your face, I'm like, okay, he's right. You're right. We can
Don't wait.
there's definitely room for improvement there.
Don't wait. I tell people that all the time. Don't wait to use the good stuff. Don't wait to
Mhm.
sit on the sofa and the fancy couch. Don't do that. You bought it to use it. So use it and love it and, go get you some new plates, Michelle.
Thank you. I have a witness. Steve has a witness. We will be getting new plates after this conversation.
Love it.
Okay, so for my people in the back, the 4 steps I heard is for a happier, healthier kitchen, we're going to first declutter and get that stuff out, especially the stuff that that you're not going to be using anytime soon. The lighting, we don't want the bright blue or the too dark yellow. We want something in the middle. It's like 4,000 kilowatts. Number 3, we want to look at colors, specifically neutral colors, especially if you have a smaller kitchen that's going to feel warm and a place that you want to be. And then 4, if you have the budget, and I'm actually going to push and say, even if you don't have the budget, there's always Goodwill. There's always fun, artsy places you can grab fun plates and utensils just to mix things up, to make it exciting, to look forward to that next meal.
Yes,
Did I get all that right?
you did. And I will make a small little change just in the color. You can keep a neutral palette just so it make most people feel comfortable with neutral palettes, but there are some people who are like, I love a bold space.
Mm,
So we'll talk about what those colors are, and you can have a neutral space. And I'm saying you guys because I know we're talking to everyone who's going to be watching this, and you can incorporate colors that actually mean something and will influence why you want to be in that space. So we can jump into that in a little bit. Yeah.
As you say that, I'm picturing my mother's kitchen, and she's really good about bringing that Southwestern design. So she has like pops of red and pops of yellow, and people never want to leave her kitchen. I mean, 1, because she's an amazing cook, but 2, because it feels like her, like you feel like you're sitting in her energy. So I love that note that you want us to show up in the colors that feel good to us.
Yes, and so let's just go that direction,
Okay.
especially since you mentioned those colors. So red, most people associate red with like love and passion and desire, but red is also a stimulator, an appetite stimulator.
Oh, did not know this. Okay.
So red is a color that people don't generally bring in the kitchen, but it's a color that you probably should. It makes you hungry. It's stimulator. So sometimes you go to restaurants, you're like, I have a lot of red in here. This is why they're encouraging you to eat and order more food and enjoy yourselves. And
Mm,
yellow is which I love yellow, but something that people don't know, yellow is usually associated with intelligence and a conversation stimulator. So some people don't want to
Ah,
probably leave her space because you're like, oh, we're in here talking and it feels good. And the red is telling me I need to eat some more. And the yellow is telling me I want to talk some more. So yeah.
so that makes perfect sense why we never want to leave her kitchen. Good to know. Oh, wow.
Let's just go through a couple more colors. So like
Yeah.
orange.
Yes.
Um, Orange is something I like to call like a confidence color. We usually associate that with confidence, but it's also about laughter and celebration. So if you're a person who loves family and friends and having gatherings, orange is great to incorporate into your space.
Mm.
Green is my favorite color.
Oh,
Um,
good. Because that's the color of my kitchen. I'm like waiting. I'm like, is she going to mention green? Let me see if I did this right or wrong.
Yes, I love green. So, I mean, green is something I think most people know, and normally we associate it with like nature.
Mm,
But I'm just going to take you on a little trail. So, nature would mean plants. Plants can be associated with health. And then health, when you start talking about health, all things health, balance, and then nutrition and
mm.
nourishment. And in particular, the dark green is great in the kitchen. And I think that's just a nod to the actual leaf. I've learned this with you, all the dark leafy greens that you would be ingesting, your kales, and things of that nature. So yes, so green is awesome too.
Mm.
Blue is really is a very popular color right now in the kitchen, but blue is interesting. In the workplace, blue is awesome, but it's also awesome in the kitchen because it's about productivity and being
Oh,
effective and being
okay.
organized. So, and dark blue in particular. So, yeah.
Dark blue.
Mhm.
So when it's the teenager's turn to cook dinner, I need to like put blue paper
All
all over
over
the wall.
here, this blue tomato.
It's like chop chop. Let's keep it going.
And that make you want to put that knife there. Put it back in the knife
Ooh,
block.
I'm paying attention.
So those are just some couple of things. Of course, white kitchens, white clearly from a Western perspective, something to mention. Colors are highly influenced by where you live and where you're from. So I'm talking about color psychology from a Western perspective, an American in particular. So white right now, really about white means like simplicity. So you see kitchens that are white, it's simple and it's clean, and it's just neutral. And something about feeling neutral makes you feel like everyone can be there. And so you don't feel like you ever go into a space and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should. You normally don't do that in white spaces. So that's why sometimes you see white walls. Think of commercial spaces like hospitals and like they just leave stuff white, which I'm not a fan of, but that's part of it. Just like keep it simple, keep it clean. So white.
That makes sense. 'Cause I've worked in two different commercial kitchens and both stark white. And I always just figured that was like for a cleanliness code. But everything you're saying, I'm like, yeah, like that's where, after the show was over or after the dinner was over, we would chat, me, the wait staff, the other chefs. And so I get that. It always felt like home to me.
Clean, keep it clean, wipe it down. And yeah, so yeah.
Mm. There was something else you said I wanted to touch on, and actually it's something very similar you said when you were here at my home that I'm just so curious. I made a note so I wouldn't forget to ask. So you said that you stay curious about the places where people live and why they choose those places. And
Yes.
so similar to the kitchens,
Yeah.
can you expand upon what you meant by that?
Absolutely. So, and this is really about my spiritual side. I believe that you are drawn to people, drawn to actual places where you live in the country, and then you're narrowed all the way down to your neighborhood. So, and then your home is no different. So that's why I call it your sanctuary and why you really want to pay attention to it, because there's a reason for why you're doing the things that you're doing. And that's what I always want to bring my clients' attention to. I don't want you to treat anything haphazardly, like, oh, I just bought this because I bought. No, there's a reason. And I want you to think about that. And when you choose to buy things that you don't care about, for me, this is what trends are rooted in. It's about what are most people going to like? And I just want to kind of fit in. But when you really take time to sit and figure out who you are, why you want something, who you want to share it with, it starts getting uncomfortable. And you know what I mean? You're getting past just the, oh, we went to Target and it's such a cute pillow. And I feel like that's what I saw on HGTV. And nothing's wrong with it in terms of like it being a catalyst or initiator for something that you really like. But you have to be sure that you're paying attention to, is that my voice? Or am I being highly influenced by just what's happening right now? So
Yes.
as a real estate broker as well, I really sit and ask my clients, like, so why do you want to live downtown? Or why do you want to live in Centennial? Or, you know, why Park Hill? Like really tell me why. What makes you feel drawn to these places? What makes you want to be in this neighborhood? Do you know people here? You know, do you just feel connected here? You know, do you like, I grew up in Denver. I'm 2 blocks from City Park. So for me, this part of the city just feels like home. I love mature trees. I love older homes that have a little bit of a modern twist. I love the diversity of the people that I'm going to see. So until you can tell me those are the reasons why, I'm doubting your reason. And so design is the same way. I just had and not to get off track, I just had a consult yesterday with someone. She had done this feature wall and she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I want you to tell me why you love it. And she couldn't tell me why she loved it.
Interesting.
She told me about all the reasons why she wanted a feature wall, but she couldn't tell me why she loved her feature wall. And I'm like, nix it. It's done. That's not for you. So that's what I mean about those things. Design is about finding your voice in your interiors so that you can live a full version of you, physically, spiritually, and mentally. So long story short, that's my reason. Yeah.
And that absolutely corresponds with what we spoke about at the top of the hour, how I don't say it lightly, but you saved my spirit in this space, because there is something about having what speaks to you speak to you. Being in a, just sitting here, I'm in the office right now and looking at these colors that like relax my mind, that remind me who I am, that make me feel like I'm at home. Like, I just cannot say enough, which is why, of course, I refer you to all my friends when they are ready to design or redesign their homes, because you do take that extra step to listen to our whys and listen to what we want. And then you even take it a step further, just as your example you shared there. You're like, I hear you saying this, but I don't believe you. Let's talk about that. That is a gift, Kadija.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's something we should all do in whatever our gift is, like really taking the time, especially as an entrepreneur, taking the time to know who you are working with. And that's how I believe you cultivate genuine relationship. You know, I'm not here to like do a cute space for you and move on. Like I want us to not just work together, but I want us to connect while we work together. And I want to make sure that when we part ways, this is everything that you needed. You know, it wasn't about me. I really do pray about this. I'm like, you know what, Spirit, move me out of the way and let me do what's best on behalf of my client, and let me be able to see what they need, and not and challenge you, push you, a little bit out of your comfort zone and say, hey, what about this? I think this would be a good thing. But yeah.
So how do my people come find you? Where's the best place for us to send them?
Well, if you're like, I'm not quite ready to work with you, but I just kind of want to see more about who you are, you can visit me on my Instagram page, Home and Sanctuary LLC. And then you can always go to my website, which is www.hosa homes, and Hosa is HOSA homes plural.com. You can see a little bit of my portfolio there and my blogging and yeah, it's fun. A couple of my videos, which another person we have in common is Paul. He did both of our BBCs. So yeah, come check me out. I'm so humbled to be in a place where I'm doing what I love and I'm working with people that I love, and I feel connected to. So it's why when you go to my Instagram page, I'm going to say, hey, tribe, because now you're going to be a part of the tribe. And yes, the people that I know are supposed to be a part of my life, whether it's close knit or far in the circle. Yeah, we're a tribe. And it's a movement. And I love that there's so many of us that are being so bold about our wellness and our own way and in our industry and in our work. And it's like, it's okay to take care of you in all the many ways. It's okay to take care of you and eat well. It's okay to take care of you and design your home. It's okay to take care of you and work out. It's okay to take care of you and leave the career that you were in for 15, 20 years and do that thing that's been burning, at the bottom of your stomach for forever. So I love that. I love being with, you're one of those people who have taken courageous jumps, recently and are just doing amazing work. So
I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you. And I will also add that y'all, Kadija travels. I've seen the work she's done in states across the nation. So please don't think that her work has to stay here in Colorado, because I know we have listeners actually all around the world. So, I mean, maybe I'll put that out there too. Are you willing to leave the states to do some work as well?
I'm all about travel. You saw the beginning where I talked about travel. Yeah, I'm all for it. And that is a goal of mine. I'm going to do some international design. I know that's in the bucket for me. And yeah, I love to travel. I just love it. You learn so much about you, but you really get to find out how small your world is where you're at. And that people are amazing everywhere. And then being able to like bring that back to wherever is home for you and then incorporate that energy into your space. Oh, done.
Ooh,
Yeah, done for it.
getting a little body goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yes,
Amazing.
yes, and
So yes,
amen.
call me, all the people.
Well, we will
Europe,
definitely put.
Africa, Asia, let's go.
Okay, you hear that, universe? You hear that, community? Khadijah's ready for you. She's here, ready and available.
Creating sanctuary everywhere.
We will absolutely put all of your links in the show notes.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for sharing your light in the world. And thank you for helping us today to look at our color psychology and to find ways that we can make the kitchen more joyful. I so appreciate you.
Of course, you guys, please get in your kitchen. Please, please, please. If you haven't, you've been sitting on the fence with Michelle. I promise you, this is not a plug that she put me up to. Do it. Do it. Take these tips and incorporate her recipes and her guidance. It will make your life so much better. And I say that not because you're my friend and not because you're an amazing human, but because the work you're doing is transformative. And it's something that we need. You're making healthy living accessible and not like making it not complicated. I feel like sometimes we like to complicate eating well and taking care of ourselves. And you're like, yeah, just put it in that blender, put those blackberries and those bananas in there, you'll be good. Can I say this right quick? You might edit this out. Can I tell you something that I have really fallen in love with?
Please.
The Orgain chocolate protein shake.
Oh, yes.
Banana,
yeah,
almond butter, coconut milk, and my Orgain, and then I put my collagen powder in there. That's my breakfast, just so you know.
Oh, yes.
I just feel like I'm having a chocolate shake every morning. Listen, guys, I'm a picky eater, and I don't mean picky and like not picky like, but I'm like something needs to actually taste good for me to like it. Oh, and a few cubes of ice, you guys. Okay. Oh my goodness,
that sounds like a little bit of heaven.
And all you, Michelle. That was October, so yeah, I haven't turned back from that. Even my husband likes it.
I'm so proud of you all.
Like,
Nicely done. Nicely done. Yeah, it's lovely when we can eat things that maybe feel a little like dessert, but then it's healing your body and you get that energy and you're satiated. So
yes,
well
yes,
done
you're
for
so
doing the work.
satiated. Yes. So thank you for that.
My absolute pleasure.
Yes.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being with us today. Is there anything else you want to add?
Nothing more than I want you to eat well and I want you to live well. Sending you lots of love and light.
Thanks so much for listening to Healthy, Sexy Nutrition. Have you been driving, doing laundry, or walking around the neighborhood? Sweet! I've got show notes for you at michellefox.com/podcast. Click over there when you are ready. I will let you know that on the page you will find resources to support what you just learned on today's show. And of course, you can grab some health supportive freebies as well. If you enjoyed this episode, I would be so honored if you would leave a review on whichever podcast platform you are listening on. It will help me with my mission to build healthier communities, one person at a time. Big love from your favorite culinary nutritionist and health coach. And until next week, keep showing up for yourself and know that you and your health matter.